All right, morning all. Good afternoon. Kind of an unexpected stream, as pretty much any of my sim sessions are unexpected. I never know when I'm going to get to fly or be able to fit this in. It's been crazy busy with work at PilotEdge, and I happen to have an hour or two this afternoon, and I realized I hadn't flown my plane in a while, and I haven't flown the sim in a while. I'm feeling quite rusty, so I figured I would jump on and do a flight. I might even try and bang out some air work during this. We'll see. I've actually done any air work for quite some time. So we'll see. So I've got my Baron set up here. Sandero, hey, good to see you, Mike. I got the trusty Baron set up here. I'm running X-Plane 11.36. I've never been happy with the drag in the stock Baron, so I just did a quick test before I fired up the stream here, and used a lower coefficient of drag, and I've got it cruising at just under 200 knots now, so a bit closer to real-world Baron performance from what I understand. So I'm pretty happy with that. So looking at FS economy here, I have a job, two jobs in the Baron from Delano to John Wayne, and I filed a VFR flight plan from Delano to John Wayne. Let me connect to PilotEdge up here. That's done. And let me get some motion lotion, because we've only got about half an hour of gas here, near as I can tell. Actually, we've got about an hour of gas once we're leaned out, but this flight is 143 miles. At 195 knots, it's about 3/4 of an hour. So let's take about an hour and a half of gas. And if we lean out to about 11 aside, that's 22 per hour. So I want 33 gallons of motion lotion, please. Let's do that. So I'm at 22. Let's refuel. From Delano, fill to 33 gallons, please. There we go. So a little bit of flight planning, fuel planning, that sort of stuff. Good to go on the FS economy side. Let's look at a proposed route. I do want to do this VFR. I think the weather's going to be pretty good. So Delano is nice and clear. Bakersfield is 10 miles and clear. I got all greens here. Clear, clear. Well, would you look at that? It's a clear day down in SoCal. Clear, and forecast remains so for quite some time. So good with that. We'll pick up flight following along the way. I will consider doing a Bravo transition. If I'm feeling in the mood, we might do the Coliseum route, we might do the Hollywood Park route. Both of those start from Van Nuys. I could see those working. I'm kind of tempted to do a dual engine out at some point, just practice some gliding. I'll think about that, see how it goes. Bullet DK, hello. We actually do have some vacation time in sight. Yep, going on vacation tomorrow, in fact. We've been on 2 mini vacations. One was a 2-day, one was a 3-day, down to the Jersey Shore. And we're going to be going again shortly. It'll be the last vacation of the summer. We had some commercial work get rescheduled that kind of tore apart our vacation plans. So we had to scrap those, and they couldn't move the commercial work. We've known for 2.5 years that this commercial work would come, and the schedule got changed for it just the last couple of weeks. So we had to scrap our vacation plans. Eric, good to see you. Oh, of course you proposed the mini route. Yeah, Joe would love that. All right, so we are connected on PilotEdge. I've got a VFR flight plan filed. We'll worry about which Bravo transition we're going to do when we get there. I do not feel like using the GPS, even though I haven't flown my plane in a while. Practicing with the GPS is not something I really find myself needing to do. It's not one of those areas of currency. I just don't feel very out of touch with the GPS, no matter how long it's been since I've used it. So I'm not too worried about that. I wouldn't mind just practicing some pilotage to do this flight. So let's have a look. There's really bugger all around Delano. It's boring as hell out here. So let's just try and make a beeline down here southeast. We'll look for Meadows, I guess, Meadows Field as a waypoint. We could follow a freeway down, I guess. That might be fun. Why don't we try and find I-5? Let's do that. There's a pretty good highway coming out of, is that a train line? This is where the rust builds. Truth be told, I can't tell if that's a road or what right there. Gonna go with the road where the substation is. Anyway, it's off Victor 23. We'll go south and we'll basically just fly through the valley over here. Let's go with that. We'll see if we can spot that lake. That'll be the goal. Yeah, let's see if we can find the lake around I-5. Right there. So how long is that? That's 58 miles. That's a bit far. Let's use Bakersfield as a waypoint along the way. Okay, 21 miles to Bakersfield. Should be able to find that. See if we can do this without tuning any VORs at all. Just do some basic timing. So Bakersfield, then southeast out of there, we should be able to see Lima 45. I suspect we'll be able to see this major train line and highway going into that valley off to our left. And we should basically find, yeah, I guess we'll join up with I-5 down here. Computer flying, it's Charlie Alpha 99. I'm not sure you're referring to computer flying. All right, so let's do that. Go through the Tahoe Pass around I-5, where that lake is. Continue south along here. Well, this lake should be nice to spot. Oh, Highway 99, thank you. I appreciate it. I thought you were referring to an airport for some reason. Let's go with that. That lake should be quite viewable. Then there's also Pyramid Lake on the right. I won't overfly Pyramid Lake, but I'll keep it on our right and we'll keep track of I-5 down here. So it'll be 99, Highway 99 to I-5, near as I can tell. Keep I-5 on the right, Pyramid Lake on the right, over Castaic Lake, Lake Peru on the right as the ground flattens out, then through Santa Clarita, we'll have Agua Dulce on our left, over this major city right here, and then we're over Burbank, Whiteman. That should all be fairly easy to find. And then we'll decide as we're getting closer if we want to do published VOR transition, published Bravo transition, or just stay high at 11.5. Also, I control what I have to control. I fly when I can fly. Truth be told, I actually did consider controlling today. I know that it's nice to have an extra controller on the weekends. We are training someone specifically for weekend second position controlling, so you'd have a dedicated tower and below, separate to the radar and above. But it's not that busy right now, so I figured I would fly instead. Sono Pilotage, hello. All right, so let's decide. We'll just defer the decision as to how we're going to transition the Bravo. Whether we're going to go above it or not. Again, I am tempted to do a dual engine out. I have two concerns with that. One, we might need a Bravo descent depending on when we do it. If I do a max range glide, we'll probably need the Bravo transition. If we're willing to start it from the southeast side of John Wayne, we don't need the Bravo transition. And I'm also concerned about the radios dying during that descent. So we will see. We'll see. Honestly, a dual engine out into John Wayne is kind of a DB move. Not really a fan of that as I think about it. So if I'm going to do engine out, maybe we'll do that at the end if there's time somewhere else. But a dual engine out into John Wayne, into Class Charlie, that's not a very realistic operation. So, all right, let's get started then. Questions? How about busting the Bravo? Yeah, not going to promote that. Okay, so Delano, let's see, we're going to be doing just over 180 knots, so 180 knots is 3 miles a minute. So we're looking at about 7 or 8 minutes en route to Bakersfield, which should certainly be able to see it. And we're looking for Highway 99 as we proceed southbound here. I like it. Let's go. Hey, Lumber. Good to see you, man. To the sim. If anyone has any votes on sectional versus non-sectional, I'm open to it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to link the flight plan that I've currently built. Copy. Pasta. There you go. It's just so easy. Don't worry about copying and pasting, just type it in by hand. No, but there's the route if you want to. I'm going to kill the browser link right here because we strive for production value. It's still not at 200 knots. It is actually. I just modified it before the stream today. I brought the coefficient of drag down and did a really quick flight test. By flight test, I mean I took it to 500 feet, autopilot on, straight and level, everything wide open, and it looked like it maxed out at very close to 200. So we shall see. Close enough to 200. You'd be happy at least. And non-GPS, correct. I concur. Get rid of these yokes. Yes, the Pilotage on PilotEdge, exactly. We've got the VFR flight plan filed. We're at beautiful Delano. The CTAF here is 22.8. Field elevation is 316. And winds are out of the northwest. Temperature's 30. Holy cow. Pretty hot. Altimeter 2989er. Let's see if our field elevation is correct. 2989er showing right around 300 feet. Golden. Right, battery on, gears and switches, sorry, gear switches all looking good, beacon coming on. This is injected, but I don't care because my plane's carbureted. Easy, Tiger. Easy, Lumber. I'm not up for the rep talk right now. You know it's been unsuccessful in the past. I don't know why you'd think it would be successful now. I'm not real good at reading audio levels. Let me know if that engine audio level is too high, too low, whatever you like. Transponder, actually. Leave it on standby. We'll go avionics on. Be gone, moving map. Get behind me. Something. Put something on completely useless. Oh yes. No, nearest NDBs? No, I don't like that. Nearest airspace. Let's have that on. I like it. Good lord. Mr. John Fly. With the 109 viewers, here come the emotes. Let me buckle myself in. Oh, the production value. This is why people come here. The special effects. Yes. So, you see, I heard a follow. There it is. Puff something. I just caught the tail end of it. Puff, thanks for the subscribe. Oh, there it is. Puff MTD123. John Fly, appreciate it. Thanks so much. I was watching you before briefly. I saw you fly in the 7.3. And I have my boy has just walked in. Hang on. Stay off the cam, buddy. Right. We be streaming. Give me one sec. Apologies. The young man came home early. Scuba Steve. All right. I'm going to speed this up, otherwise I will never get off the ground. We got one turn and burn him. Get number 2 going. Sounds good to me. And again, if anyone can give me any feedback on audio levels, let me know. Eric says you've flown this route so many times, taking the fly route north of the Bravo at 55. Okay, that's an idea. Don't fly, I appreciate that, man. I do miss flying. It's a beautiful day outside, actually. I was... the Red Arrows and the Blue Angels are flying at the New York Air Show right now, and we've been planning to go to it for like 7 months, and the plans just didn't work out today, so I'm kind of bummed about that. We are going out tomorrow, and the air show really takes it out of us with all the traffic and stuff. So, no air show today, but it is a really, really nice day, so I'm in a flying kind of mood. A little quiet too, balance is good, gotcha. Engines are quite quiet. I'll tell you what, I'll increase that now because they should be relatively loud since I've got the windows open. I don't know if that's a little bit better. Great for stream, okay. Yeah, I hear you, Mike. So once we buckle it up like this, that'll be what they're running at. So I just turned it up a little, let me know if that's okay. And otherwise we're good. So CTAF at Delano. XX Dragonslayer, thanks. So due to the resolution of my screen, it's tough for me to have the chat, the charts, and the stream up. So rather than attempting to keep up with all the follows, I will say thank you in advance for people who choose to follow. I do appreciate it. However, in order to preserve some of the continuity, and again, production value, I will. I'll not try and keep swapping back and forth, trying to monitor who's doing that. But I do really appreciate it. So 22.8 is the CTAF. And for those who, I think, you know, I pasted the Sky Vector link just before John Fly hosted, so paste it again. This is the rough route we're doing. So no autopilot, no GPS, no moving map, none of that stuff, which is very, very safe, but very boring. Hear the follows. So tempted to go look, but I will just say thank you. Alright, we're going to depart runway, let's see, it's 14 is right traffic. So it'll be 32. So we're going to taxi at runway 32. Clear on the left, clear on the right. And off we go. Shenanigans. Thanks, man. So we will eventually pick up flight following. Bakersfield Tracon is around 18.8. Oh, you rarely have the chat up with any stream you look at. Gotcha. Well, I have little choice but to have the chat up because otherwise I won't really be able to interact with viewers. You know what I might do? I might take the chat. Really no need for the chat box anymore. I think I'm going to take that off. Now that chat replays include chat separately, I'm gonna leave that off. Just so that people who want to view the video in its purest form can enjoy it. Alright, feet on the pedals, which miraculously are not obstructed. I'm going to skip the run-up for brevity because it's not one of those things I feel like I need to practice right now, but this would be the time where I would do a run-up. Cheers. Alright, so pre-takeoff. We'll button up, we'll go lights. Camera, transponder's already on. Button up this guy before it gets deafeningly loud. We are clear on the left. Ooh, holy broken neck, Batman. Clear on the right. Go mixture switch. Everything is forward. Yeah. Oh, nearly happened. Nearly happened. I just looked down at my fuel gauges. I'm like, that is a lot of gas. That is just under half a tank. And I only put in 33 gallons of gas. Hour and a half of gas. So, what did I not do? I didn't start my FS economy flight. Ah. Yes. Feel the virtual revenue just pouring in. Cowl flaps. The cowl flaps are about half. Hang on a minute. No, they're not. Suddenly they're closed all the way. Ooh, that's a first. Don't really understand why that is. Alright, we'll go... Yeah, you're quite right. Cowl flaps all the way open then. Let's go with that. That's weird. The stock Baron, I usually just leave them at half and it actually does fine. But apparently they moved. Alright, T's and P's looking on good. Jonesy, hello. Nice to see a wild Keith Smith. Alright, so we are taking off to the northwest. I'll circle back over the airport and we'll kind of start a timer or keep an eye on our time, and we're looking at about a 140 heading for 20 miles. Bakersfield should be in sight, and I-5 will eventually be on our right side. I-5 runs pretty much right through this airport, with the town of Delano to the north. Delano traffic, Baron taking off runway 32, straight out Delano. Actually be at left 45, Delano. Alright, one more look on the right 45, finals clear for 3-2. Feels nice to be in an airplane again. Adding some trim here. Sis, hello. That's runway 32, it's identified. Quick look here, mag compass checks 32 and 320 on the HSI, I'm happy with that. Get the power in, T's and P's all looking good. I have RPM, engine instruments are good. Speed's live, we're tracking the center line. This is the react flow. And the next would be takeoff point. So if it was a performance takeoff, we would have determined a takeoff point, possibly one of the hangars or something like that. Make sure that we are reaching a certain percentage of our rotation speed prior to that point, otherwise you abort the takeoff. But again, that's more of a in a performance takeoff situation, like a short field. Alright, gears up and locked. We are trimmed quite nicely. It's basically hands off right there. Bye bye, Delano. Turning into my left 45 departure to depart the traffic pattern. Don't have to do any math, just put 320 on the HSI at that 45 tick right there. And life is good. There we are on the 45, heading on out. Verity, hello. Alright, now that we're up and running with full power here on the engine, let me know if that engine volume is too high. We can easily turn it down. And I'm just way a lot on the F3 button, pulling the props back here for the after takeoff. I'm pulling back to just over 2500 RPM. Kill the landing light. Get clear of the traffic pattern at Delano. Tendero, thanks for the host, man. Thanks, buddy. Keep the climb going, a bit of a cruise climb to the left, and we're going to circle back over Delano if we can. Be behind us. There it is, there's Delano. So this would be the importance of trimming. I've got it trimmed for a nice hands-off cruise climb, and it allows me to do things like that, like look on the rear 45 and not worry that we are spiraling to our death. And you're going to hear me harp on this, but anyone who says that you cannot hand fly a sim and kind of discounts the value of hand flying it and obsesses over using the autopilot, I would use this as Exhibit A, that this is not stressful, quite relaxing. Inxis, you're a pure PE pilot. You got to fly a Dornier 27 for real. Holy cow. That's awesome, man. Yep, Jonesy, stock Baron in X-Plane 1136. With one small mod, I did change the coefficient of drag, reduced it to get a more realistic cruise speed. I think it was set to 0.1 and I reduced it to 0.052. Which is the figure that it actually recommended based on some basic calculations that the plane maker made. It said all things being equal, the coefficient of drag for this airplane might be 0.052. So I started with 0.06 and it was actually not fast enough, and I said, you know what, their calculations are pretty darn close, so I just went with 0.052. Okay, you'll also find that I don't do a lot of external views because I'm doing what a pilot would be doing here. This is a low-wing airplane, and the fact is the body is in the way. Good news though, I do have I-5 off the left side. I know we just passed over the airport, and there's I-5 below us. So, checking the time. I got 7:21. Well, let's go to our 140 heading. Yes, John Fly, there is a nice shared cockpit config. I think I built it. This is very true. Oh, terrible. How did we end up descending? Alright, we're at 7:21 for the start. And we're looking for Bakersfield Meadows in the distance on this 140-ish heading. So let's put 140 on the HSI. I'll tell you what, the HSI is kind of a pain in the butt, so I'm going to just make that perpendicular so that my brain just ignores it completely. Put 140 on the heading bug. Now let's fly that maybe. And how about we climb to like 5.5 for now? And geez Louise, how have I not started leaning already? That's very unlike me. Need a peak, here we come. Okay, so leaning for about 11-ish. And I'm looking for that EGT. Because I leaned so quickly, we didn't even really get to see it climb up and peak. Wasn't paying attention, but the EGTs are down here. Thanks for the follow again. Let's climb to 5.5. And we're looking at around 8 minutes. 7 minutes, 8 minutes, because we do have some climb out time here. Let's call it 8 minutes to Bakersfield Meadows. And let's tune into SoCal and listen to them. Bakersfield approaches 18.8. And we should be monitoring guard on COM 2. So we'll do that. And 18.8 is Bakersfield approach. That's done. Sandera said, Lumber and I did this a few weeks ago. Nice. Did I end up getting right pack? I did not. Max. Awesome to see you, man. Yeah, me flying an airplane. It really is pretty rare these days. I'm very sad to say. That's awesome, man. I'm just going Delano to, where the hell are we going? John Wayne. So just verify the after's done, lights are good. We are leaned for cruise, really. We're in a bit of a cruise climb. We're on about a 140 dead reckoning heading. We are keeping I-5 off of our right-hand side. And drop the wing real quick. Yep, there's I-5 on the right, looks good. And we're looking for Bakersfield Meadows dead ahead. And it doesn't hurt, let's go ahead and pick up by following here. Gonna estimate, let's see. 7:21 was when we started, and I see 7:23 and a bit. It's called about 3 minutes.
TBM 00 Juliet, taxi parking via Alpha, there's frequency, and pass for the I-10.
Ooh, that may have been loud. I just realized that's a different, it's a different sound source for you guys on that one. So let's see, we are at about 8 minutes, we're about halfway there. So we've got about 10 miles, probably about 10 miles northwest of Meadows. Bakersfield approach, Baron 132 Kilo Tango VFR request.
Baron calling Bakersfield, approach your broken signal.
Baron 132 Kilo Tango, 5 northwest of Bakersfield, 6,500 request advisories to John Wayne.
Baron 132 Tango, squawk 3302, ident.
3302 and ident to Baron 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, 3302. I do see my streaming bandwidth is kind of all over the place. A bit odd. And the ident there.
Baron 2 Tango, radar contact 5.5 miles northwest of Shafter VOR, Bakersfield altimeter 2988, maintain appropriate view for altitude.
Baron 2 Kilo Tango. Okay, altimeter is 2988. Okay, so we're a little bit further northwest than I thought. She gave us 5 miles northwest of Shafter, and Bakersfield Meadows is about another 2 or 3 miles southeast of that. So we're just climbing a little slowly, that's all.
After active descent, maintain flight level 240.
Are there ever controllers ever on the East Coast? No, there are never controls on the East Coast on PilotEdge. Because it's not in our coverage area. Coverage area is published right, yeah, under the operating hours and service area page. Right there. Alright, let's level at 7.5 for a bit. It's high enough for this area. And I'm keeping an eye out for Meadows. I'm not going to lie, I don't see it just yet. So, it's a little surprising. So let me scan a little bit more carefully. Guessing it's in this field of nothing right in front of us. I do think I have the highway though. I can just make out this guy. Checking the sectional. Let's see, any features, major features? Yeah, if I look to the left, I should see a valley in the mountains with a road going into it. And really, Bakersfield is directly a beam net. So, I'm not there yet, but in terms of a time estimate, 21, and we set around 8. Based on the fact we climbed slowly, why don't we make it closer to 9 minutes? That should get us there at 30 minutes after the hour in this, which is still a few minutes from now. I'm good. I've been a little bit right of the heading, which means Bakersfield, if anything, will be on our left. Let's see. Around that pillar. Nope, not there, but I think I have the beginnings of the road out here. And the road is actually south of the airport, so the airport should be inside of that road. Interesting. Oh, under the cowling, I gotcha. Yeah, at this altitude. Yeah, that is quite possible. So we'll do a quick sanity check. I tell you what. Let's do that. In case it is almost right under us. Off the left wing.
Region 347, contact Los Angeles, center 125.27.
I think we are. I think it actually might be right under us. There is an airport under us.
3 Delta Alpha, contact point Magoo Bridge 124.7.
That seems possibly early.
Skyhawk 883 Delta Alpha, contact point Magoo Bridge 124.7.
And what I'll also do is get the cow flaps to cruise.
Magoo 124.7.
About halfway. Can't close them all the way. The Baron seems to run pretty hot. You know, based on this really major road heading off to our west, to the east.
347, Los Angeles Center, maintain 14,000, Palmdale altimeter 3002.
Yeah, I think that must have been it because I'm now seeing.
1 Magoo 83 Delta Alpha. 6,100 climbing 7,000.
And then it forks off right there. One's a train line on the left, one's the highway. I think that was it, which means we had station passage at about 728.
88 Delta Alpha.
And a 150 heading is what we're looking for, so we'll just take the highway to the south. Guess we'll never know. Can ask them to lean. Oh, there it is. There's Meadows. See, I steadfastly refuse to put on an external view because I'd like to feel the same confusion or frustration that I'd have in the cockpit right now. And now that we've seen it, verified it, this would have been the go-to solution a while ago. Right? Go, oh, cool. There's Bakersfield Meadows. Excellent. Can't do that in the airplane. Really can't. And so if we are truly simulating not having the, we're choosing not to tune a VOR for the purpose of this exercise, we're not using moving map, then don't swap to an external view either, otherwise you're really defeating the purpose. It all comes down to what you're trying to achieve with the flight. I mean, I know that for a lot of streamers, the external view is the go-to view. It's visually a lot more interesting. A lot of people don't care about the gauges, they like the visuals. I totally get that. So there isn't really a right or wrong answer. However, if you're doing it for training and you're telling yourself it's for training, then make sure you're not lazy and kind of ruining your training by doing that. But it was nice. We did have the backup, right? We had that backup view the backup plan of looking for those freeways heading out into the valley. And that's them right there. That's what really got me thinking that we had probably passed it. But between the timing and the that's some horrible altitude holding, isn't it? I'm not actually liking the cow flaps, but they are. The engine's getting really hot, so I'm just going to run them open. We are theoretically lean of peak here, but the engine's still running really hot. Let me maybe closer to peak than leaner peak. So let me just lean it out a little bit more. Observe a drop on the EGT. This will follow. Okay, there's a slight drop on the EGT. And then I enriched it just a tiny bit. See how we do. Okay, about a 150 heading. Now, I haven't forgotten the time. It was 7:28 when we passed over Bakersfield, I think. This next leg is 37 miles long. We're doing about 3 miles a minute. Let's call it 36 miles. So 36 divided by 3 is 12 minutes. So 12 minutes, I'm estimating 40 over whatever the hell our next waypoint is. I do have the highway. It's the only major highway I can see heading in towards those hills. That's good. Shenanigan says the FS Economy client crapped out after an 800-mile trip. Oh, that is very painful. That is super painful. Got quiet there. Let me make sure we're still connected. We are. Okay, now another neat thing with mountains off to the left here. Notice how the mountains are kind of creeping out to the west here. This is like an extreme point of penetration to the west of this ridge. And when I look on the sectional chart, production mountain coming. You can see just south of the Amont intersection, we have a glorious example of that. So if you look, actually Kellen, or go west of Kellen, see how these mountains protrude out further than everything around them, briefly. So that's another nice little visual reference we can use to correlate where we're at. Holy cow, we're actually at altitude. That's good. Hiding Chrome hidden. Thinks this, I forgot to acknowledge your message before. You showed a Pilotage to a friend who's an airline pilot. He thought it was so realistic he was too scared to ever talk on the radio. Please tell me you're kidding. I've heard a lot of cases of real-world pilots being intimidated and not wanting to talk on our radios.
Departure frequency 125.2, squawk 4461.
But I think that's a first for an airline pilot not wanting to talk on the radio. That might legitimately be a first, unless he was just kidding with you. He or she.
Flight support 27 Romeo, be back correct. Runway 21, taxi via Bravo, and you can just turn off on the ramp for the run-up.
Just reducing the ATC audio just a little bit. Now, PilotEdge does actually support com radio volume. There isn't a manipulator in the stock Baron for it. Well, look at that, my VOR was tuned to something. Looks like we're tuned to the Santa Monica VOR. It just came in as it happens. Well, we don't want that. So we'll just flip it and hope it's not tuned to anything else. There we go. Okay, so we're on about a 150-ish heading. This I'm less worried about navigation challenges, I think, because we've got the highway right in front of us. That'll be I-5. I'm sorry, it merges with I-5. We're following 99 off of our right as it merges with I-5. So let's look for that merge. Sit up in our seat a little bit. I think I got I-5 that's kind of coming in on that 45 degree angle back there. And the merge point is, I think, right down there. Right there. So just to the west of the merge point is slightly rising terrain. And I do see that on the section. I think we're good. So the road heads into hills and then jogs to the east, the left turn. And then we should see our lake, which is our next checkpoint, right near the Gorman VOR, near the town of Lebec. Our lake should be on the left-hand side of the highway. I'm not going to lie, that's going to be quite hard to see unless we scoot on over to the left. To the right, sorry, so that it is on our left. This is giving you mad nostalgia flying in the early days of Flight Sim. All VOR and trim and landmarks nice. Oh, I see, I got you. He's a pilot in Germany, things different flying VFR. That makes sense. Iowa Scotsman, hello. finding myself wanting to
Legion 347.
turn to the west a little bit,
126.1.
because we are evidently slightly... No, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to point the plane right into where the road enters the valley, and our flight plan doesn't call for that. The route that I planned does have us actually entering just east of it, because the road immediately jogs. Once it's behind that hill, it jogs to the east. In fact, in the distance, I think I can see right there. I think I can see where the highway continues, winding to the south, though. Not going to obsess over it.
Contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
2527, Baron 2 Kilotango. 25. Oh, that mouse.
Legion 347, 14000.
25.
Legion 347, Joshua approach, Palmdale altimeter
27.
3002. Descend positive discretion, maintain 8000, safe approach request.
Eric, yes. Yeah, I do see Pyramid Lake. We were going to plan on having that on our right-hand side, I agree. LA Center, Baron 132, Kilo Tango, level 7,500.
Baron 132, Kilo Tango, Los Angeles Center, Palmdale altimeter 3002.
02, Baron 2 Kilo Tango. Alright. 3002. Pressure's coming up quite a bit. Alright, we had estimated 740 on the meter, and I have 738, so about 2 minutes to go. Looking for Lebec. If we don't see Lebec, wherever there's a hard bend from Highway 5, yeah, Highway 5 does a hard bend to the southeast right around there, so we're good. Quite honestly, as long as we're following I-5 south, we're in relatively good shape here. Shenanigans, yes. Yeah, we try and point out inefficiencies in people's radio calls, things like that, more so than the real world, because it is, that is one of the predominant uses of the network. That's correct. Are there any drones on the IR200 425? No, we don't have any drones on IR routes. We have drones on VR 1265, which would have passed under here. We would have just passed right around now, actually. Yeah, there's some F-18s and some B-1s that come blowing through here.
Region 347, turn right, heading 030, vector visual approach runway 12, contact Joshua approach 124.55.
Thinks this, thought it was nearly impossible. Yeah, I've done this kind of flying since X-Plane 7 and 8. So even without the ortho.
Sir, 427 Romeo, Santa Monica Tower, right crossing departure at the shore.
The roads.
Runway 21, clear for takeoff, wind 2208.
Hello, Sim, really good. The roads and rivers and topology or topography were good enough to be able to do this kind of flying. It's a lot prettier now, but it's always been, for years now, it's been quite easy to do this kind of flying in the sim. Alright, coming up on 740, I got the bend here. We're supposed to turn to a 136 heading. I think I see Pyramid Lake in the distance right there.
Confirm you still have the airport in sight.
As I said, this small lake on our right.
Legion 347, cleared visual approach.
Probably not going to work out.
12, 5 miles out.
Don't feel comfortable.
127.6.
Don't feel comfortable dipping any more than that. Or dipping the wing any more than that. Oh, hold the phone, Reg. That little lake might be in the ortho right there. Oh yeah, with Quail Lake. No, that's not Quail Lake, I'm sorry. I got confused between one lake and another lake. Alright, I'm going to say we're good for our timing there. 740. So we've got 22 miles to go on about a 135 heading, so we are on the left turn. And we're just taking this out to the southwest tip of Castaic Lake. Okay, I have Pyramid Lake on the right there, and I've got that giant bend in I-5 up ahead. Also a merge with another highway, I think Quail Lake. Okay, that's going to be Quail Lake on our left. Seen. So right there is Quail Lake. There's a merge that happens west of that with I-5. And so Pyramid Lake will be on the right of that, over there somewhere. How long is this lake? This is 63 nautical miles. So 21 minutes from now, so that would put us in at 01. Really, that long? No, it isn't 63. That's the next leg. I'm sorry. It's 22 miles. I thought that seemed like a long time. Yeah, because I haven't got any legs after this that I've calculated. So it's 22 miles, which would be around 7 minutes. So it should be at 47, we're estimating. Yep, Quail Lake on the left. Seen. Ah, this is nice. I'm enjoying this a lot. And again, feel free to open up Sky Vector. Just send yourself around Lake Hughes, LHS, or Gorman, GMN. And we're just tracking southeast out of the Gorman VOR, essentially. And if you've got it on the sectional chart, you should be able to see Quail Lake, which we're passing right now. Quail Lake is down there. And there is a VR route. Yeah, VR 1257 comes blasting through here, so...
Passport 27 Romeo, contact circuit departure.
We keep an eye out, we might see him. We're in good shape. I got Pyramid Lake now coming up on the right. And so that's a great reference. I have a feeling this is Castaic Lake down here. Eric says you have the lake just under left wing, the grey thing. Gotcha.
Radar contact, maintain appropriate view for altitude, LA altimeter 2994.
Gotcha. Okay, so the grey one that was in the ortho was actually our lake that we cared about. It actually was not registering as a lake in X-plane. That is Quail Lake, and it is true water in X-plane. That was interesting. There's Pyramid Lake down there.
Legion 347 Mojave Tower, wind 2409, runway 12 cleared to land. Legion 347, sorry, I registered the wrong wind. Wind 180 at 8S15.
Same shape in just the right place. Gotcha. Yeah, I was a little thrown off because I was expecting the blue water of an X-plane lake, and then I realized, hang on, there are times when X-plane misses the fact that a body of water is there, especially with super small ones, but it was in the ortho. The ortho never lies. Just passed over the VOR. Gotcha. Maybe you're saying I had just passed over the VOR, because we are not over a VOR right now. We shouldn't be. We got Pyramid Lake coming up here on the right. Where is it? Down there. We're right next to Pyramid Lake. There's no VORs here. So yeah, you must have been... Yeah, I think you're referring to it at Quail. Gotcha. Track was over the VOR. Understood. Alright, there's Castaic Lake right there. Okay, we're estimating Castaic at 47. The southwest corner near the dam. That's in just over 2 minutes. So what I don't really have is a solid plan after this. So this would be the time to come up with one. We need to decide if we're going to do a Bravo trans or... Oh yeah, the flyway. Yeah, let's do the fly chart. I'm up for that. This place feels like home. You've spent a week here. Oh, 1 night in PE. Gotcha. Alright, so I'm going to pull up the, let's pull up the browser for you guys. And let's have a look at the Los Angeles fly chart. Wonderful document. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to make Burbank a reference right now. We'll add that to our planning. And it's 23 nautical miles, so we'll be looking at right around 7.
Legion 347, taxi to parking via Alpha Charlie. And remain this frequency. Have a great rest of your day.
It would be 7 minutes and 40 seconds if we're doing 180 knots, but let's call it 7 minutes after Castaic Lake on a 135 heading. So just keep the same heading to Burbank. That's easy enough. But let's look at this fly chart. So there's a couple of options. So the fly chart depicts suggested routes that will keep you clear of the Bravo. They're not charted routes. You don't request them by name or anything like that. There's nothing regulatory about them. They just save you as a pilot trying to come up with a route that will keep you outside of the Bravo. So there's one that's above 5,000. We track all the way out there. Well, we are trying to get to John Wayne. So how about we do the 3,500 one after El Monte. This does feel kind of silly because we're going over Van Nuys and there are Bravo transitions that start at Van Nuys, so I'm actually going to have to deviate to the east just to be able to stay out of the Bravo. So I think, I don't know. Actually, I'll take votes on it. I normally don't do this, but I'll go either way. What do you guys want to do? We can do Bravo trans, just a sec, we're just coming up on Castile Lake. We can do the Bravo trans from Van Nuys, or we can do flyways. By going to St. Gabriel, either at 35. Well, there's a fairly major wind shift. Alright, one vote from Thingsys for the Bravo trans. So far, the Bravo trans is killing it, 1-0. Coming up on, it is just around 7:47. And I sense yep, there's the southwest corner of the lake. Bravo for the ATC. 2. 34-2, Baron 132, Caltech. 3 for the Bravo, 1 for the flyway. Oh, the Bravo's pulling ahead. Pulling ahead, I'm telling you. 34-20. I think that was us. Let's see, I got 748 station 748 station passage at Castile. So Cal approach, Brown 132, Kilo Tango, level 7,500. Oh no, 3 for the flyway.
Cal approach, Burbank altimeter 2993.
903, Baron 2, Kilo Tango. Okay, so this is pretty common, like higher pressure in the mountains.
Delta Alpha contact Cal approach 134.2.
Higher pressure in the mountains, and then once you're out of the mountains, the pressure sometimes drops again, so that makes sense.
883 Delta Alpha contacting approach 134.2.
Okay, the wing's blocking the airport. Sorry, blocking that, but we're good. Yeah, I was almost going to ask her. If we could do the Bravo trans and all. All right, so it's 3-3, which means I think I get the tying vote.
SoCal approach 883 Delta Alpha, level 7,500.
Sky 883 Delta Alpha, SoCal approach, Burbank altimeter 2993. Information Mike is current.
2993, Mike 883 Delta Alpha.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm hearing some noise upstairs. Making sure my son is still alive. Would you have asked the control in the real world? Nope. I just request the Bravo transition. If they have time, they will give it to you. If they don't, they'll say no. You're basically just wasting time by asking if they have time for the Bravo transition, I would say. Bullet breaks the tie. Votes flyway. Alright, let's do that. So we're just continuing to Bob Hope. Let's see, we said 48 minutes was my station passage. See, this is a nice thing. Even if you don't know exactly where you're going to be going, noting the times allows you to retroactively come up with a flight plan. So Castile Lake, same heading, 23 miles. So let's go with 7 minutes on that one. Again, it should be 7 minutes and 40 seconds at 180, but I think we're going a little quicker than that. So 7 minutes on top of the 48 gives us 55 for Burbank. Easy enough. So flyway it is. Flyways need to be taught. Normal guy, I know. I'll tell you what, I can tell you how we would have flown the Bravo transition. So, is the chart still up? No, it's not. So, if I do this, and I go to the LA TAC chart, had we done a Bravo transition? Let's see, we're at 75, so the... we would not be in much, we would not be popular at 75. So we'd probably have to climb to 95, and we'd go for, I'd say I'd do the Hollywood Park route. So we'd head to the Van Nuys VOR, we'd climb to 95, and prior to the Bravo, well before it, we would be talking to SoCal and said, request Hollywood Park route. That's it. And they would say, I see we've already got flight following, so already on radar, they would say, cleared into Los Angeles class Bravo airspace, proceed with the Hollywood Park route. They may or may not add the altitude restriction. It's kind of implied by this, saying it's available at 85 or 95. But so, let's see, so you may or may not get the altitude restriction, but they could say maintain VFR at 9500 while in the Bravo, or they might just say nothing. That's it. Then you proceed Van Nuys 140 radial, up, all the way to the Queen Mary, and then you're done. And that is that. But we're not doing that. We are using the path of misery and going with the LA.
Sky 3 Delta Alpha, cross Van Nuys at or above 3000. Expect runway 8.
I need the LA flight chart. Why is it not giving me the...
83 Delta Alpha,
there we go.
say again?
I need the LA flight chart.
Sky 3 Delta Alpha, cross Van Nuys Airport at or above 3000.
Okay, so we need to get ourselves to El Monte.
Above 3000, expecting runway 8, 83 Delta Alpha.
It's going to be a new level of concentration.
Piper Sport 27 Romeo, contact point McGear approach 124.7.
Contact approach 124.7, light sport 427 Romeo.
It's going to be a pain in the butt. I got to find El Monte just visually. Makes you wonder what the Cat 10 would be. Nice. D-normal guy, there we go. We went through the procedure. Traffic inbound over Van Nuys at 3000. Try to hit him. That was the one on the mini route. Yes, the Cat 10 was mini route. You go out of Torrance, mini route through Hawthorne, LA, and San Monica airspace, land Van Nuys, turn around at Van Nuys, take off, and do, I think it's the coastal, up at 55, landing.
Magoo approach, light sport 427 Romeo is at 4,500 inbound for Camarillo Airport.
Light sport 427 Romeo, point McGear approach, Oxnard altimeter, actually I'll give you Camarillo altimeter, 2903. Advise you have information X-ray.
I'm going to pull off to the right here just so I can get a better shot of seeing Burbank off my left.
Altimeter 2993, thanks, and I'll get information X-ray for Camarillo, light sport 427 Romeo.
As I sense we should be seeing some airports. I think, yeah, just looking at the time here, I got 55 for yeah, I'm recognizing this. So this is the highway, this is I-5 right here, and then Burbank is just on the other side of this pillar. If I lean to the left, that's Burbank down there. So good to go. Timing's looking good. Alright, so Burbank, this is a giant pain. Alright, well, we're going to have to do some dead reckoning in that case. Quick plan. No, we're over Burbank now, we said, right? Alright, let's just do that. So from Burbank straight to El Monte, there's no roads to follow that I can tell. So it's a 101 heading for 18 miles. We're in the turn. There's 55 past the hour, that's good. Or 50, yeah, 55. Alright, 101.
Flight Sport 27 Romeo, Camarillo Airport is slightly readier at 12 o'clock and 11 miles report in sight.
Okay, this leg's 18 miles, so we're going to call 6 minutes, which means we'll get there at 01 at El Monte. Okay, and this is the chronometer I'm using right down here, for those who are curious. I'm feeling the need to get off of my TAC chart here and, sorry, get back to a TAC chart, because there's some topography here that's helpful.
Sky 3 Delta Alpha, Van Nuys Airport 12
so
o'clock.
there should be a
Burbank Airport 12 o'clock and 15 miles. Report Burbank Airport.
So here's a local high point that we're just flying south of. That's good.
3 Delta Alpha will
Basically right near the Berry,
report
right near the Berry intersection. So we're just taking this all the way up to San Gabriel, and we need to be dropping to 3,500. So I'm going to start the drop So we're starting on down. SoCal Baron 2 Kilo Tango. We're going to leave 7.5 for 3.5. We're going to route via El Monte, go under the Bravo to jump line.
Baron 2 Kilo Tango, roger.
If you're going to deviate 45 degrees like that, because the controller is trying to work out what handoffs to do to which sectors, not a bad idea to let them know if it's going to be something other than direct. 5 degrees, 10 degrees, no big deal. 45 degree turn. Is it legally required? Absolutely not. But you're probably going to get a controller say, hey, where are you going? And they're not mad at you, they need to know where you're going so that they can work the handoffs to the next sector. Alright, I do have what appears to be a highway that was heading southeast and then goes straight shot east. I can't see the name of that, but I have a feeling it's just goes south of the Rose Bowl through Pasadena. And we should stay south of that, which is looks like it's going to happen. We'll be cranking. This is going to mess up our timing a little bit because I didn't slow down for the descent, so we're going to get there a little soon.
427 Romeo, say make straight in runway 26 and report 3 mile final. Baron 2 Kilo Tango, contact SoCal approach 135.4.
35.4, Baron 2 Kilo Tango. Right, 35.4.
Factory Delta Alpha overhead Van Nuys Airport, contact Burbank Tower 118.7.
Landing Burbank Tower 118.7.
SoCal Brown 132 Kilo Tango 5.4, descending 3,500.
Baron 132
Beating that guy in onto the
Ontario altimeter 29903.
93 Brown 2 Kilo Tango. I think that's the Rose Bowl we just passed over, so it's about the halfway point. Does that make sense with the timing? We should be there at 01, and we got there at 5.5. So yes, we have just passed the Rose Bowl. Timing works out the halfway point, and just visually I can see that the Rose Bowl is the halfway point. So I'm happy with that. Okay, we are basically keeping the Bravo off our right, and what I am looking for is El Monte Airport.
Overhead Van Nuys Airport, so you can go ahead and just call me when you're overhead the airport.
Okay, El Monte in my experience is rather hard to find. It's in a very nondescript area. There should be a body of water just to the northeast of it. Near as I can tell, it's very small. I may have to use timing for this. Santa Anita racetrack behind the window pillar. Oh, nice. Okay. So I caught the Rose Bowl. I don't really know if what the racetrack is. It's going to be a 3D object or not. You know what? I am seeing some bodies of water here. Maybe this one here. We're looking for a triangle. Very narrow sliver. Don't know if that's gonna work or not right there. Any major roads? Yeah, there's I'll tell you what. San Gabriel has I-10 and another highway, 605, just to the southeast of it. So this is the 210 highway off of our left. With that, coming up on 3500. Make sure the engine is not freaking out because I was leaning for high altitude ops. I don't see it. Doing anything odd, so we're good. Now we are cruising, so we're going to get here before 1 minute past the hour. This is a little bit disconcerting. So, off to the left. Anything descript? That's the racetrack, I think. If that's the racetrack, then there's El Monte. Got it. Woo. That was close. I looked at the time and saw it was top of the hour. Well, hang on a second. Okay, we're just coming up on this. So 1:47. Now, bearing in mind we were going really fast. That's right. We can go back to 3.5. 1:47 heading. That was close. I did not see the airport initially, but I did spot the racetrack. And so if the racetrack was off our left, it must have meant that El Monte would be pretty much off of our right. Or close to it. It ended up being directly ahead of us a little bit. So that worked. Now we're on about a 147 heading. This will be 26 miles, so we're going to stay under 3,500 because we've got the Bravo shelf to deal with. We'll look for, let's see, any airspace considerations? No, just stay below 4, so let's go to 3.5.
Sky 83 Delta Alpha Fairway Tower, thank you. Runway 8, clear to land with variable 6.
Pretty major highway off to our left there, heading to the southeast. Actually, not, oh yeah, I am seeing that, okay. Just east of the flood control basin, there's a highway that runs southeast. And there's a VFR reporting point V Pomona Freeway. That looks good. Oh yeah, check ATIS. Thanks Eric, good call. You always wondered if the course was magnetic or true. They are, they're magnetic. They are magnetic. Alright, we got the Disney. Okay, watch that altitude. Let's not get to 4K. John Wayne 8S 260. We'll do that on Comp 2. It's the worst altitude holding. Yeah, we're getting better performance down here. This was trimmed for full power at 7,500. Down at 3,500, we're getting more power, so it's actually climbing on me. That's a pretty terrible excuse, if I'm being honest. Should have caught that a while ago. Bit of workload going on. Oh, that's the wrong radio. Stay with SoCal and go to 126.0. On the COM 2. There's good.
2.18, altimeter 2992, arriving and departing runways 20 left, 20 right, visual approaches in use. VFR departures, contacts, clearance, delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact, you have information Alpha. John Wayne Airport, ATIS information
Just noticed
Alpha.
the TFR popped up in this nearest airspace. That's cool.
1220 at 7.
The wind's out of the
Visibility 10.
southwest 7.
Sky condition clear. Temperature 28.
I'll look to 14.
2.18. Altimeter 2992. Arriving and departing runways 20 left, 20 right. Visual approaches
That's it
in
for
use.
Alpha.
VFR departures, contact, clearance, delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flat.
Nice. Alright, let's keep an eye out for Fullerton. What we don't have is timing on this leg. So all the way to John Wayne, I think I'm just going to use that, from the Almonte one, is 26 nautical miles. 26 nautical miles divided by 3. Let's go with just under 9 minutes. 9 minutes plus the 01 would give us 10 minutes. So 10 minutes after the hour is John Wayne.
Flight
6 minutes to go.
Romeo, runway 26, taxi via Foxtrot Alpha.
Let's see what we can see. Fullerton should be at 3 o'clock.
Bearing 2 Kilo Tango, contact SoCal approach 128.1.
28-1, bearing 2 Cal Tango. SoCal, Bravo 132, Kilo Tango 3,500, landing with Alpha. There's Fullerton.
Bear 132 Kilo Tango, John, correction, SoCal approach, John Wayne altimeter 2992, proceed to Mile Square Park, expect runway 20 right.
Mile Square Park, plan for 20 right, bearing 2 Cal Tango. Okay, Mile Square Park I've never looked for before, but from where we are now, which is just the beam Fullerton to Mile Square Park, UPLMS, 166 heading, 10 miles. Okay, 10 miles, about 3 minutes, so 8 minutes past the hour. 08 MSP. We're looking at 166 heading. So if you were curious if it was magnetic or true, just basically draw a perfectly straight line to the south. What we ended up with here on this leg, I noticed that it's not a 180 heading. That pretty much tells you what you need to know. Okay, so that was a good example of having to deal with basically a diversion from the plan. So we were planning on just navigating straight to John Wayne. She told us to report inbound at Miles Square Park, no problem. So we worked out where the heck that was, what our heading would be, got some timing going, turned to the heading, note the current time, and now we're looking for Miles Square Park. Hopefully it's a square. On the TAC chart it certainly looks like a square.
Skytree Delta Alpha, taxi to parking via Delta. If you're going a Millionaire, it'll be Delta Bravo. Remain this frequency.
Wonder where they got the name. Thank you. Actually very helpful. Alright, if all else fails, the Pacific Ocean is that way. Got that much done. Okay, quick check of T's and P's. Gas is pretty low, but we expect that. We're burning just under 10 gallons an hour. Fuel burn's in good shape. We've had our timings really well along the way. I'm in good shape on that front. However, at 08 we should be at Miles Square Park, and I truthfully don't really see it. So I'm gonna
3 Delta Alpha, disregard the
keep an eye
pass.
out
I
here.
misunderstood. It wasn't for the ratings, alright.
Cross perpendicular over some highways. I do see that. I can't remember if she said to report over or just proceed to. SoCal Baron 2 Kill Tango.
Baron 2 Kilo Tango, go ahead.
Did you need us to report Miles Square Park or just proceed towards it?
Baron 2 Kilo Tango, just proceed toward it. Do you have John Wayne Airport in sight? About your 11 o'clock and 6 miles.
Insight, Baron 2 Kill Tango. It's patching
Baron 2
nothing.
Kilo Tango, contact John Wayne Tower, 12620.
26.8, Baron 2 Kill Tango. Alright, did anyone see the park? Because I did not. 26.8. Done. Okay, based on our timing and heading, we are over Miles Square Park, so. John Wayne Tower, Baron 132, Kilo Tango, Miles Square Park, landing with Alpha. Under the cowl, gotcha.
Baron 132 Kilo Tango, John Wayne Tower, in a right base, runway 20 right, clear to land, 12207.
And a right base, 20 right, clear to land, 20 right, Baron 2 Kilo Tango. Okie dokie.
Camarillo
power.
Tower, lights for 427 Romeo, holding short, runway 26. If I could get a straight out
To help
departure.
avoid shock cooling here,
for
as
Santa
you pull the
Barbara.
power back, you can enrich in the mixture to a warmer setting. And that's a nice way to not shock cool the engine during descents like this.
Camarillo Tower, runway 26, clear for
Okay, I'm
takeoff,
gonna
route departure approved.
Set on my HSI runway heading. So
Runway
about a
26, clear for
195
takeoff,
heading-ish.
lights for 427 Romeo.
This helps me square up the base here. And we are definitely high, so I'm going to pull the power back even more. Gear extension speeds marked there on the airspeed indicator. That's max gear speed there. We'll go to gear. Feel that drag. We will go, actually, extra rich, and I will go prop all the way forward. I have 3 down green, mixture rich, prop full forward. Okay, I'll take approach flap. You can feel that the flaps came in, but just make sure it's indicating. That's confirmed. And we are plummeting down to pattern altitude. Keep it above blue line, actually adding power as you always end up doing in a Baron. We will go fuel pumps on. And why not? Let's get the landing lights on. Okay. Landing check complete. Just coming up on pattern altitude for a right base for 20 right. Making judicious use of my right 45 view and my right wing view. A little high, but this is a very draggy airplane. I knew that as I was setting up for the right base. If it was a very slick airplane, I would have certainly widened that base out. But I'm feeling pretty good about this. Getting the feet on the pedals here, getting comfortable. And we are cleared land. The runway's identified. 20 right, runway's clear. Blue line, landing assured, I should say.
Camarillo Tower, if I could get flight following to Santa Barbara at 4,500, lights for 427 Romeo.
That's brutal, asking the tower for flight following.
Star 2.
Like the tower's got nothing better to do.
Star 2
That would be a
Romeo,
ground thing.
contact point, we approach 124.7 with your request.
Nice job. Controller denied the flight follow.
124.7 with my request. 47
Tower's not going to look down and get a beacon code. They got to work. They got to work pattern work and keep the runways clear and all that good stuff. All right, we are at John Wayne. We are clear. Flaps up. Clear the runway. Stop the airplane. After landing, flow. We'll lean for ground operations. We will turn off the fuel pumps. Landing lights off.
Bear 2 Kilo Tango, taxi to parking via Bravo. Have a great day.
Parking via Bravo with you. Bear 2 Kilo Tango, good to see you. I swear to God, anyone who says that the sim is not like flying the plane, I just don't get it. There isn't a single element of that landing that I just did that wasn't identical to flying my airplane. I'm not saying close, I'm saying it's identical. Now, I happen to fly a stick airplane with very light controls, so that notwithstanding, you know, so because I'm using a Thrustmaster T16000M, it's very responsive, and I've got X-Plane set up to be responsive. So it feels a lot like my plane, but even if it didn't feel like my plane, I know what a 172 flies like. And this helped me when I was flying 172s, and it helped me when I was flying Diamonds, and oh God, the thought process is just exactly the same. Who cares if the stick load isn't exactly the same? I happen to think that this is pretty darn close to my airplane, as it turns out. But even if it wasn't, it wouldn't matter. The visuals are all there. More elevator, less elevator, the way it bleeds energy. Very, very honest on the final. It really, really is. Just, it really frustrates me when people say you have to use the autopilot or ignore the last 100 feet, doesn't matter. Now, as it happens, if you did say, okay, I'm not going to even worry about landing or the nuances of landing, that's fine. There's still a bajillion things you can use the sim for, as you just saw. But as it happens, it is really a bajillion and one things, because it turns out you can actually land the freaking plane in the sim too. In my mind. Alright, we have made it miraculously. Wow, that was really fun actually. I had a feeling it was going to be interesting. I had a feeling that the pilotage... I've never actually done pilotage around this part of SoCal. I knew it was insanely busy. In terms of just the visuals are very busy and sometimes nondescript. So that is very interesting. Having to look out the window and do it like that with absolutely no other references keeps you very honest. All right, let's make sure we finish our shutdown flow properly here. That would be a disaster, right? If you had the master off, but the mags were hot, and then you walk away from the airplane and someone starts playing with the props for any reason, turns the props, or you come back at a later date to turn the props through to, you know, get some oil flowing, and then they kick on you because the mags are on. That would be really, really bad. So the way I was talking in that shutdown flow was actually, that's something that could be a real problem in the airplane if you're not careful. All right, so the plane's all shut down. Happy with that. KLRFS economy flight. It is done. We have 12 gallons of fuel on board. Cool. All right. A passenger vote for the route choice, yes. Flight EasyJets, thanks. Yet the textbook plummet approach, it absolutely was. Make no apologies for that. Keeping it tight, using the airplane, knowing that it's a draggy airplane. Yeah, let's check out the map. Let's have a look at what we did. That was actually a really, really a ton of fun, not gonna lie. So how did we do on our routing? I can only see as far back as Gorman here, but yeah, we came dangerously close to the Gorman VOR. We actually did a better job spotting that lake than this one. We had a feeling that might be it, but I was confused. I wasn't sure if that, the ortho lake that I saw, I wasn't sure if it was this lake or Quail Lake. And it became abundantly clear that Quail Lake was a full real lake in X-plane, so that worked. Routing looked good. Southwest corner of Castile Lake, or whatever it was called. Tracking to Burbank. That hard right turn at Burbank was because I knew that if I kept on course at that altitude, I was never going to be able to see Burbank, so I made a hard right, made sure that Burbank was on the left, and then tracked towards Burbank. about that time, we decided, okay, we're going to do the flyway route, so let's plug in a heading to Burbank. Hang on a second, is my map blocking half of the... it's not too bad. Let me turn that off there. Yep. So, approaching Burbank, we hung the left to the southeast, we head to San Gabriel, ended up slightly north of San Gabriel, thank goodness for the Santa Anita Raceway, but between the timing and the raceway, did spot the Rose Bowl on the left halfway, that was useful, but we kind of dodged a bullet on the El Monte one. If not for the raceway, I probably would have overshot that by a little bit more. Altitude management was good. Stayed under the Bravo. The altitude management till that point was good. After that, it was a disaster, I thought, because I broke my rule. Remember at the beginning of the flight, I said, really important to trim the airplane so you can do hands-off stuff. Well, I was trimmed for wide open throttle 7,500, where the engine makes like 65, 70% power. We then descended to 3,500 feet, still at max power. So now we're at like 85% power or something like that. So we've got a lot more power, and hence the plane's trying to pitch up. So when I'm under, doing a bunch of different things, getting the ATIS, navigating, working out timing, writing things down, if I'm not keeping that forward pressure, we're screwed. And so we ended up going from 3,500 to like 3,700, I think was the highest I got to, maybe 3,750. I don't think I hit 3,800, but it was not far off. So with the Bravo being at 4, that was just poor altitude management, plain and simple. So if you reverse that back, I actually learned this from a guy in the Air Force recently, that it's one thing to just tell the guy, hey, your altitude tracking was bad. It's much more interesting to talk about why the altitude tracking was bad. So yes, I know I ended up at 3,800 feet, bad boy, but why did I end up at 3,800 feet? And so when you reverse through the process, you can see that I didn't remember to retrim. I got so comfortable being at 7,500, I basically forgot about trimming the airplane altogether. Anyway, so that was fun. Continue. We were on the southeast track heading towards John Wayne. Then she said Miles Square Park, so we worked out a heading for it and straight shot south. In terms of true south, that looks like it was correct. And then we jumped on in for the right base. And again, we set up the HSI to have the runway heading bugged so that I could easily set up a nice square base just using the instruments. Because the visuals are, well, the fidelity of the visuals are great, but because I'm using the keyboard to look around, I will often use the instruments to help me out, just because I'm not always diligent about swapping to right wing view, right 45, forward view, etc. All right, let's take a look at the replay, and then I'll call it a day. I don't particularly care about the replay, but I know that people like to see it. Welcome aboard Plymouth Airways, Flight 101, with non-stop service to John Wayne. HP7, Bake. Around Fulton, where the altitude hold was worse, the Bravo was at, yeah, 6K, gotcha, so you figure it. Gee, I wish that was true. Diane, you missed a real corker of a flight. I would, knowing you the way I do, which is not a ton, but a little, I suspect you would have enjoyed this flight immensely. So you may want to check the VOD on this one, because it ended up being a lot of fun. The summary is Delano to John Wayne, no map, no GPS, no VORs, just writing down timing for different legs, and coming up with, we planned 3/4 of the flight, knowing the last quarter would be kind of up for debate as to whether we did Bravo transition or flyway route. We ended up, we briefed both and ended up flying the flyway route. And it got pretty busy towards the end with some pretty poor flying in terms of altitude management at the end. So we talked about why. Anyway, that was landing. I was barely paying attention, but I think it ended up being okay. Check the VOD, the VOR nightmare approach to Mexico. All right, Mexico City, I think that's right. So to my eye, the descent rate was a little high in the last few feet, and I caught it and arrested the descent, but it could have been done a little bit better. That whole transition for the flare. We had plenty of energy. I should have been able to arrest it prior to when I did. So it would have been a nice touchdown, but not the best landing. Satellite tracking was good though. Otherwise, all right. Cool. Replay complete. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Brad, you have to assess penalty points for lack of better scenery, but bonus points awarded for energy, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Mike, good to see you, man. Glad you enjoyed it. If I have a smile on my face, it's because that was a really, really fun flight. I'm so glad I didn't just go for IFR. I'm so glad the GPS was off. That was cool. I just feel like I went for a flight. That's what it comes down to. Oh, by the way, before I go, I know I'm flying the Stock Baron. I think I might be the only person in the world flying the Stock Baron. For me, the experience is much more about the timings, the navigation, the quality of the sound or the visuals on the panel. They don't matter a ton to me. And this is light on the frames. It's a known quantity. Doesn't crash the sim. Didn't cost any money. As much as I love to support payway developers, I think people get really, really hung up on the airplane. They keep focusing so much on the latest plane, and I think it's a lot less about the plane. Ultimately, it's what you do with the stick. It's up, down, left, and right, and energy management and all of that. And the plane, to me, is a lot less relevant. It flies at a particular speed. Obviously, there's a difference between a 172 and an MU2, or a twin piston in the middle there. So got your 172, you got a fast twin piston or a super fast single, if you can get like a Lancer or whatever. Then you get into the slow turboprops, and you get into the fast turboprops, and you get into the jets. It's the speed that kind of matters to me, unless you're talking about an insanely complex airplane in terms of systems. Then sure, find the plane that has those systems. But if the plane you fly has relatively simple systems, don't get hung up on flying that exact airplane, especially not your panel. So anyway. 150 knots makes the world go round. Nice. Eric says, I bet the workflow of taking care of the airplane is important too. The comms and the nav, yes. Yes, true. That's a procedural thing to do with the whole flight. That needs to be managed. But whether it's a KX-155 down here or tuning the VOR on the Garmin, I don't care. I really don't care. For me, anyway. So people, I know I get a lot of crap for flying the Stock Baron. Yeah, the textures are pretty dated, it is true. But again, how much time did we spend on the external view on this flight? Next to zero. Remember, I actually made it a rule in that flight, for the most part, not to... At times, it would have been convenient to do this, to get a top-down view. Oh, hey, look, we're passing over Burbank. Life is good. Well, you can't do that in the airplane. You can only do this in the airplane. You can only lean. You can only look around like this. There's the F key, goddammit. There we go. That's how you look around in the airplane. So you notice a few times we actually had to get off course, drop the wing, and then look off the left wing. I'll look to the left to be able to see where we were going. That, to me, is much more interesting than, hey, I got the latest, Diamond or Piper or stuff like that. I'm not using rep, no. Performance speed of the books. Thinks the stock is slow, but all I did was change the coefficient of drag from 0.1 to 0.062 before this flight, and we were doing pretty close to 200 knots. So it was great. Oh, your flight did log. Excellent, man. Rep. The only thing with rep is that a lot of the features that I've seen, or some of the features I've seen, are overstated. So they're like, hey, we have the coolest spark plug fouling code in the world. Let's make sure that you get to experience that by making the spark plug fouling 100 times more aggressive than it would be in the real world. And that annoys me. Don't build a feature that is then shoved in your face. That would be like us with the distortion. If we said, yeah, we worked so hard on this distortion code, or Toto, more accurately, worked so hard on this distortion code, we're going to push that down people's throat, and the minute you're, don't have perfect reception, let's really hit them with hard static. I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's just model it as accurately as possible and let the chips fall where they may. So if someone can tell me that rep does that, then I'm in good shape. So Diane, I see your comment there. That is actually good to know. Maybe I'll revisit it if they are in fact doing that. We shall see. You can turn it all off, great. But then at the point where I've turned it all off, then why am I installing this mod? Plane isn't made of glass anymore. Okay, good. That's good. That would be interesting because I do not know that much about twin ops. So you'll notice I'm always leaning and working the props and mixtures as though it's a single. I basically fly this plane like it's a single. So if it starts modeling difference in performance between the two engines, now I'm going to actually have to learn how to fly a twin properly. So that'll be interesting, matching the power of the engines and all of that. All right, so there is that. However, you saw I managed to keep myself pretty busy just with a sectional chart. That was fun. All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking part. I'm off to go see if my son is still with us. Start blowing some engines, I'll get more fun. Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. Okay, so on that, if they do shock cooling damage and stuff like that, they had better have modeled the CHT and EGT relationship with mixture and that whole curve, because X-Plane, for example, doesn't quite get that right. Once you're lean of peak, the CHTs should drop a lot, and they barely drop in here. So if they're going to model overheating and stuff like that, they have better model it right. So we'll check it out. See, maybe I will have a look. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, man. The neat thing is there's a million different reasons to sim, and I understand people do it for visuals and entertainment, and some people like automation, some people like really, really cool panels, and people like change of scenery. Change is good for some people, for me, not so much. I like to come in to practice techniques. So as I said, my goal here was to practice a flight with Dead Reckoning and Pilotage, as opposed to PilotEdge, although we did do it on PilotEdge. So that was my goal today. So what I don't want to do is have a plane that kind of does some quirky stuff that's different, and it suddenly gets in the way of that training objective. But it's neat. Lots of different things to do in the sim for different people. So Dato there Josh. Dato there Josh. I'm pretty sure I'm reading that wrong. Thanks for the sub. So all the people who did sub, I appreciate it. If you were subbing in the middle and I didn't acknowledge it, I apologize. Earlier in the stream, I was acknowledging every sub, especially since John Fly gave us that other. Thank you. I knew I was reading that wrong. I got the Josh part right. Dato her Josh. It was I was having a little trouble with my screen real estate here with chat, the streaming window to be able to play with volumes, and my charts was not working too well, and I wasn't able to keep up with all the subs properly. So I just said a blanket thank you and then stopped acknowledging individual subs. So Dato her Josh, you are the first one to get a specific shout out. The other Josh. I assume the primary Josh you're referring to is JG. He's my primary Josh. So send me the charts on Discord. Hope you won't have a heart attack. I screwed up the speed. Management on the end and plummeted. That is a feature of yours, Diane. I noticed that energy management is not your forte. You have said that before. You're in a 727 in thin air with 5 radio sources, 4 frequencies within 25 miles, and 2 receivers in a 3 crew jet. That is actually quite funny. The number one Josh in our hearts. Yes, Brad. I figured you would feel the same way. Thinks this I will watch. If you start streaming, let us know, and I will come and at least watch one for some amount of time. Now, I appreciate you guys coming. I know that my stream's very different. Just do different things, which is kind of a neat thing. Not every streamer is the same. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did, and I shall see you next time. Brad, check out the VOD. You might enjoy it. It was not a boring flight. Coast Pilot, appreciate it. Thanks, man. See you guys.